All right, let's jump right in. When you think about the big energy exporters, you're probably picturing oil, gas, massive pipelines, the usual stuff. But what if I told you one of the world's biggest gas producers is making a huge strategic bet on women's health technology? Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But Qatar is quietly building a future where its most valuable export isn't going to be hydrocarbons, but intellectual property in, you guessed it, femtech. And to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to look at the two competing ways of thinking about innovation in the Gulf. On one side, you've got the model we all know: scale, speed, build the next super app. It's all about growing as fast as you can. But Qatar? They're playing a completely different game. It's a long game, built on science, patience, and most importantly, patents. This is the core idea we're going to unpack. So this is basically the standard playbook you see all over the region. It's all about consumer apps, food delivery, ride hailing, things that make life easier. The whole goal is to get millions of users as fast as possible. Success? That's just a numbers game. How many downloads, how many people are using it every day? The big problem, though? You have to spend a fortune on marketing. And the second a competitor shows up with a better price, you're in a race to the bottom. There's almost nothing you can do to defend your business long term.
Which of course brings up the big question, right? If that fast growth consumer app model is what gets all the attention and all the headlines, why on earth would a country choose a path that's slower, way more complicated, and honestly just a lot harder? Well, the answer isn't about chasing the next hot trend. It's about a really deep, fundamental shift in their national identity.
And boom, here's your answer. This quote says it all. This isn't just some random startup program. It's a core part of the Qatar National Vision 2030. The entire goal is to literally transform the economy, to go from a country that pulls resources out of the ground to one that creates and exports knowledge and technology to the rest of the world. Now, let's be really clear. When we talk about femtech here, we are not talking about your basic period tracking app. We're talking about deep science. This is technology that's backed by serious clinical proof that can survive years of regulatory hurdles and is built on research that's truly defensible. We're talking about building a fortress of patents and IP that no one can just copy. And here's the thing you've got to understand. This deep science model is a total non-starter for most venture capitalists. VCs need a quick win, a fast return on their money. This stuff, it requires patient capital. And that's where a state-backed model can be a complete game changer. They can pour in money and wait, sometimes for years, for a payoff. Because the asset they're really building isn't just a company with a quick exit. It's a national capability. Okay, so that's the theory, but what does this look like in practice? How are they actually doing it? Let's take a look at the blueprint they're using to engineer this whole deep science ecosystem from the ground up. So the engine room for this whole strategy is this really unique accelerator, a team up between the Qatar Science and Technology Park and the pharma giant Merck. And just look at how they do things. They're not interested in your flashy pitch deck. Step 2 is everything. It's all about scientific validity. They give these tiny startups access to pharmaceutical-grade experts, the kind of know-how that's usually impossible to get, to help them through the maze of clinical trials and compliance. And this right here is the really clever part. Most health tech startups, they don't fail because the idea was bad. They fail in what people call the validation gap. That's the brutal, expensive journey from having a prototype that works to getting a government to certify it as a real medical device. Qatar's entire system is built specifically to solve that one huge problem, which massively boosts the startup's chance of actually making it. Okay, it's a great theory, sounds nice on paper, but does this state-backed patient approach actually, work? Well, let's look at a case study that shows exactly what this kind of model can produce. Meet Deepecho. They're tackling a massive global problem. There just aren't enough highly trained experts to do complex fetal ultrasounds. So what did they build? They built an AI co-pilot for the ultrasound machine. It literally guides any clinician, not just a top specialist, to get the perfect standardized measurements and can even help spot potential problems like heart defects early on. I mean, think about the impact of that. You don't need the world's best expert in the room anymore. That's a total game changer for healthcare everywhere. And this is the mic drop moment. Deepecho has received FDA 510(k) clearance. Now, if you're not in the medical world, let me tell you, this is a huge deal. This is the stamp of approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, one of the toughest regulators on the planet. For a startup from the region, this is an incredibly rare achievement, and it proves that the entire Qatari approach is working. This isn't just some cool app, it's a certified medical tool. And this chart just nails the difference. Deepecho isn't trying to build a business by hiring thousands of sonographers. That's the old local service model. Their value is in the research, in the software, and the IP they own. It's asset-light, and it's infinitely scalable. You can sell this software to a clinic in Texas or a hospital in Tokyo just as easily as one in Doha. From day one, it was built to be exported globally. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. What Qatar is building isn't just another startup hub trying to copy Silicon Valley. It's a totally new model. They're trying to turn their local market into a global laboratory, a place where deep technology can be validated and then exported. And if they pull it off, it could honestly change how deep tech gets built everywhere. And look at where they're placing their chips. The whole femtech market is evolving. In the past, it was all about tracking apps. Right now, it's moving into real-time biomarker monitoring. But the future? The really valuable, really complex part of this market is in predictive care based on genomics. By going all in on deep science, Qatar is skipping the past and present and positioning itself to be a leader in the future of femtech. So it all boils down to this, a completely different way of measuring what success even looks like. The old model was all about user counts, download numbers, and getting a fast exit. This new model, Qatar's model, is about hitting validation milestones, getting that clinical proof, and building a powerful portfolio of patents. It's about creating real, defensible, long-term value, not just short-term hype. And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. For decades, all the wealth and influence in the Gulf has been tied to what you can pull out from under the desert sand. But if Qatar's massive bet on deep science actually pays off, it points to a future where the region's most valuable resource is no longer drilled, but developed, in a lab, in a line of code, and in a patent filing.